Hi everybody, Rochelle here from Quebec CICHLIDS. Today I'm going to be talking to you about sponge filters. I'm going to explain in this video how to set them up and how and why you should be using them. For those of you who are just tuning in, welcome to my channel. I highly suggest that you click that subscribe button because I have new videos every week about information, about new fish, and a bunch of crazy fish-related adventures. So definitely subscribe to the channel. You can also get these awesome t-shirts that I am wearing. They make you feel fabulous. I mean, Cichlid Geek, that's what we are, right? So get those right in the video description after watching this video. Alright, so back to the subject. So sponge filters are, in my humble opinion, a great addition to the freshwater aquarium. Setting up the sponge filter is so easy. Just clip everything into place. If it doesn't clip into place, the middle part may be broken. You'd have to change it. Once that is done, simply pass the airline tubing through the plastic tube and connect it to the intake. Clip the plastic tube into place and voila! You just set up your sponge filter. The sponge filter is a simple device that mechanically filters your water. The air creates suction, and that makes the water pass through the sponge, as it would in a regular hang-on filter sponge. When this happens, the beneficial bacteria colonizes the sponge. This bacteria transforms the toxic ammonia and nitrite, which come from the waste in your water, into nitrate, thus making your aquarium an inhabitable environment for your fish. Add a sponge filter to your aquarium as a second or third filter. You can use it as a main filter, it works perfectly. But if you do so, you might be limited in what else you can use it for. So before starting with this filter, make sure you set it up in your aquarium at least 1 month prior to actually using it for its fantastic uses. Why we would do this? Well, because we need it to cycle. Beneficial bacteria goes in the sponge, and if we don't have any inside the sponge and you just put it in new, well, you're not doing anything. You're just putting a brand new filter in your aquarium. So make sure that it is cycled. If it's not cycled, you will have ammonia and nitrite spikes, and that goes against, well, everything we're trying to achieve here. If ever you don't fully understand the nitrogen cycle, one of my first videos is about that. So go check it out after that if you still have questions on the subject. This is the best and only filter you should be using on a fry growing tank, because it's the only filter that doesn't eat up your fish. Our fish are so tiny and fragile at this point, and any motor filter, even the tiniest AquaClear, even the tiniest motor pump can suck in your fish. You might lose full aquariums of this because you just didn't have the right filter. This is the safest filter out there for it. Even the smallest sponge filter should be enough for a fry tank, like a little 5-gallon tank I'm talking about. So let's say you have African cichlids. Their gestation lasts from 3 to 4 weeks. So that's enough time to get your filter cycled if ever you haven't done it already. So once your female is pregnant, put your sponge filter in the main tank if it's not already done. If you isolate her, because let's say you wanted to keep the fish, well, you're gonna want to have them grow. Eventually, they will outgrow your isolation box. So you need to set them up in a new aquarium. So as I said, don't put a motor filter on there. But what you can do is simply, let's say you have a 75-gallon tank, well, you take out 5 gallons. It's really nothing. It's not even a full water change. Take out 5 gallons is just 1 bucket of water and put it in your new aquarium, and conveniently, you have a fully cycled filter that is safe enough for your cichlid fry. So set that up, instant aquarium, put the babies in, and you're good. Once the fish, they grow up and they're ready to go to their big kids tank, let's say you don't have need for that sponge filter anymore, just put it back right in the main tank and it's ready for the next batch. If you're into fish breeding and you always have cichlid batches or fish batches, whatever, then you can just leave it there all the time. In my case, in my cichlid growing tanks, my 10 and my 20-gallon tanks. I said 5 gallons earlier. I'm sorry, it is 10 gallons that I use. I have about 50 tanks and they are just sponges. Fish illness can strike at any time in the aquarium, and it's actually your reaction time that will determine if you save your fish or if you live through a disaster that will scar you for life. So a hospital tank doesn't have to run constantly in case something happens. No way. You just take that sponge filter if you have a sick fish. If that sponge filter was in your aquarium for over a month, it's fully cycled. So just take the water from the main tank, put it in there. If ever you suspect there's a contaminant in the tank, well then you're probably better off treating the whole tank. But it's just one fish that is injured, has a sunken belly, or just is acting lethargic, kind of weird, everyone else seems fine, you can isolate them, take the water from the main tank, put it in your hospital tank, take the sponge filter, fully cycled, put it in the hospital tank, and there. Like with the fry tanks, you have an instant aquarium right there. So you're going to want to treat that fish only. Therefore, it'll cost you so much less on medication because you're not treating that 75-gallon tank. You're treating a 10-gallon tank now. So it's a lot less medication. Whatever your fish is sick with, treat them appropriately. Once they get better and you're sure that there's no more contaminant or whatnot, you don't need that hospital tank anymore. So reacclimate the fish to the main tank. With the sponge filter though, take it out and rinse it completely. You do not want to use that sponge filter in your main aquarium. Just in case there was something in there, you never know. So better to be safe than sorry. Just rinse it out completely, let it dry, and then you can use it in your main tank. And then just store that hospital tank away for the next time, hoping that it doesn't happen. You just got a new aquarium and you already have one running with a sponge filter that's fully cycled like in the others. An easy way to start your filter in your aquarium is to switch up the biomedia. So you take some of the ceramics from your main filter that's already running and you put it in the new one. Take the new one's ceramics and put them in the old one so that they can get cycled up on their own. The only thing, usually we do this if we have a powerful filter on one end and we don't mind taking some out. We're still taking biomedia that is fully cycled out of our aquarium, out of our filter. If your tank is fully loaded, this can add some stress to the fish, have a little bit of ammonia, nitrite spikes, because you're playing in your filter where you probably shouldn't be. Because you never know, you might take out too much beneficial bacteria. It could happen. And this is why we have our convenient little sponge filter ready for action. So you just take it out and plop it in your new aquarium and let the new filter run. Start it with all the new biomedia and just let it run for a month with the sponge filter. So your new tank can be started because you have good beneficial bacteria. Obviously, don't fill it up completely. Don't forget, you still have to make sure that everything is stable before adding your fish. So once you've done this, be careful that your main tank is still well oxygenated, because the sponge filter is not just the sponge, it also has those little bubbles, and those create a lot of surface agitation. If you don't have any more in your main tank, you might be condemning your fish to live in a low oxygen environment, which is bad for them. If ever you take your sponge filter out and you figure, wow, that is not a lot of surface agitation, well, just add an air stone or a circulation pump, which do the same thing, but they don't create any bacteria. Problem solved. If you've watched my video on how to survive a winter power outage, you know that the sponge filter is a lifesaver. So it's that time of the year where, yeah, we have to start thinking of the colder months. I know, the pools are closed. We switched our flip-flops for booties, and well, it's time to buy that sponge filter to prepare yourself in case there's a winter power outage. If the power goes out and you don't have a UPS, you can simply plug your sponge filter to a battery air pump. If you cycled your filter beforehand, you still have a lot of beneficial bacteria eating up ammonia and nitrite. You're still going to want to cut down on that food, but still, you've got that safety. And it also oxygenates your water, which is usually what will kill your fish in case of a winter power outage, especially in the really filled tanks. The more fish you have, the faster they'll use up all that oxygen. If ever this power outage lasts a long time, the battery in your battery-operated air pump should last for many days, but the bacteria in your filter will have died. Now, if this is the case, at least you always have that sponge filter to help you out. If you want to know what to do in a really long power outage, check out my video on the subject. I'll link it right in the video description or somewhere right up here. So in the end, sponge filters are the best. They are a great addition to the freshwater aquarium. They will keep your fish safe. You'll always have that safety with you. And also they will permit you to grow your fish room faster. Because you know, if ever you get a good deal on a tank, well, at least you already have a ready filter to put right in. You can put fish in a lot faster than having to wait a whole month for it to cycle as if it were a new aquarium. So that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, subscribe to the channel. There's plenty more where that came from. I post new content on every Thursday. Don't forget before leaving to pick up your Cichlid Geek or Fish Geek t-shirts. The link is right in the video description. The shipping is pretty fast, they're comfortable, and above all, fabulous. If you want more info about fish in between my videos, well, you can follow me on Facebook, Instagram, on Twitter, and I have a great website where you can shop online and see all my fish. New this month, you can buy aquatic plants directly online. I ship throughout Canada. Go check that out. So thanks for tuning in. I'll see you next week. Bye-bye!